No? It's just these three people over here. Good morning. I'm trying not to have to crouch. But thank you all for being here. I'll try to tip this up without knocking it over. Thank you all so much. I know it's mid-morning and it's a Monday, and I'm sure there's nothing going on back at work where you're in your offices and there's nothing that you needed to do. But I can say that for me, there was nothing I needed to do that was more important than being here at this moment and at this time for this occasion, and to do what we can to say thank you for all that was done. Before we get too far in the program, I've been given lots of pieces of paper here. And on one of them, it says elected officials. So I'd like to recognize that our mayor here, Mayor Berry is here. Kathy Buggs from Congressman Cooper's office is here. We have Councilman Freddie O'Connell here. We have Vivian Wilhoit, our there she is, property assessor is here. And our county clerk, Brenda Wynn, is here. Did I miss anybody? Hey, say something. Hey, Councilman at Large, John Cooper in the back. Thank you all. Thank you all for taking time to join us this morning. Again, we've called this our tribute to the Nashville 16. It's one of several things that we hope to do throughout this year. To acknowledge the sacrifices that were made and by these individuals and obviously by their families in a time where standing up and taking a stand and demanding equity and equality was not the most popular thing to do. The fact that you are here says a lot. The fact that we are here says a lot. And so we've sort of unofficially entitled this event Because of You. Because of you, I'm able to sit here on a Metropolitan Nashville School Board. Because of you, we have schools that are experiencing more diversity than they've ever experienced in decades. Because of you, we have students that believe that they can do anything. Absolutely anything. And obviously because of you, we have the first African-American director of schools here in Nashville, Dr. Shawn Joseph. So one of the other things that has happened because of you, we have a deep, deep level of arts and music within our schools. And as a result of that, you get to hear from one of our fantastic choral groups from Hillsborough High School. So I will now allow them. You all ready? You got your solos ready? Did anybody, where am I supposed to stand? She's just like, ha ha, okay. How many selections do y'all have? Two. So we will have two selections from the Hillsborough Choir.
Many people, white and black, were listening anew to the message of slaves and former slaves. Many people wanted to abolish slavery, to get rid of it. They were called abolitionists. One of the most important men of our race was Frederick Douglass. Like Nat Turner, he was born a slave, but he ran away from his master and became a great speaker for the abolitionists. Standing before large audiences like this one, he would tell about his childhood and the evils of slavery.
My mother's visits were short, brief, and often made during the night. I will never forget her facial expression when I told her I hadn't eaten since morning and that the mistress had been trying to starve me. She gave me a large ginger cake. That night, I knew that I was not only a child, but someone's child. The cake was in the shape of a heart. Upon my mother's knee, I was a king upon the throne, although my triumph wasn't very long. I later woke that next morning to see where my mother had been. That was the last I had ever seen of her. After my mother's death, I learned that she was a slave that learned to read. That a field slave like me should also learn to read. Although the darkness of slavery still loomed over my life, I went through bruising, trials, heartaches, and trouble. Freedom was
dreaming of a city, dreaming of a city, dreaming of a city, dreaming of a city. I've been dreaming of a city far beyond the sky. When the suffering's over
only one of a few names in our history, in a few words. There are so many other now. Poets, musicians, artists, doctors, politicians, lawyers, professors. We call ourselves African Americans because we cherish our heritage in its wholeness. African and American. We were here, and we still are, building lives and legacies. Perhaps no one helped us realize our worth quite like the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr.
I am in Birmingham because injustice is here. I am compelled to carry the freedom of gospel beyond my own hometown. I cannot sit idly by in Atlanta and not be concerned about what happens in Birmingham. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I have a dream that my 4 little children will be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
I have a dream today, too. I hope each of you has a dream. And I hope each of you has the knowledge that your dreams can come true. So lift up your head and dream high. Dream high.
There's a man standing on the corner. He has no home, he has no food, and his blue skies are gone. Can you hear him crying out?
And there's a girl searching for a father and a friend, praying that the storm someday will end. But instead of walking away, open up your heart and say,
I am here. You don't have to worry. I can see your tears. I'll be there in a hurry when you call. Friends are there to catch you when you fall. Here's my shoulder, you can lean on me.
oh, there's a child.
There is a child who hurts.
Sick and begging to be free, but there is no cure for his disease. He
Whoa, as she holds his hand, praying that someday the storm will shine again, and the pain will end. I am here. You don't have to worry. I can see your tears. I'll be there in a hurry when you call. Friends are there to catch you when you fall.
Here's my shoulder.
Here's my shoulder, you can lean on me.
Lean on me.
Tell me how can I love Jesus when I've never seen his face? Yeah, I see you dying.
And I turn and walk away. So hold my hand, yeah.
Let me take you to a friend of mine. He's waiting just to ease your trouble.
more than you ever know.
Instead of walking away,
Open up your heart and say, I am here.
I am here.
You don't have to worry. I can see your tears. I'll be there in a hurry when you call. Friends are there to catch you when you fall. Here's my shoulder, you can lean on.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Here's my shoulder, you can lean on me.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's my shoulder, you can lean on me.
You're my friend, but you're also my brother. Here's my shoulder, you can lean on me.
So that was not supposed to happen. Didn't know it was coming. I apologize. But I want to introduce to you Janelle Gansky, who's the director of the Hillsborough Choir. Thank you so much. Oh, Lord. So, whew.
Take your time. You'll be all
Oh
right.
my goodness. So, yeah, then look around, you keep your head down, then you look up, and that did not help. So I want to acknowledge Representative Love has joined us, and I want to introduce the board members who have joined us as well. We have Dr. Joanne Brannon, we have Ms. Mary Pierce, we have Ms. Christian Bugs and Company. We have Ms. Thais Hunter, and we have our board chair, Ms. Anna Shepard. Anyone else on this side hiding? Okay. Next, I want to bring to the mic, and he's the reason this podium is here. He's a little high maintenance sometimes. Our Director of Schools, Dr. Sean Joseph. There's not much that you don't know about him. He's probably been the most visible director of schools that we've ever had, the most engaged, the most outspoken. The man gave his Urban League speech in a dashiki. I don't know if you were there. But he brought it. He was comfortable. But what I will tell you, what I will say simply is that we have someone at the helm today that is committed to equity for all of the students of Nashville-Davidson County. And what we need more than anything is for your continued support, not only of him, but of our schools and of our students. If you have a child, a grandchild, a next door neighbor, anything that's involved in public schools, we need you. We need your presence, we need your prayers. So, Dr. Joseph.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Oh, my goodness. It's hard to listen to those students and not just be absolutely overwhelmed. Overwhelmed with joy, overwhelmed with pride, overwhelmed with a sense of responsibility. That we owe it to them to give them the most extraordinary education they could get anywhere, because we live in America. And, America has not been fair to all of its people all of the time. And just to go back and think what the world was like in 1954. Well, 1954 is when America declared we were going to end the legal segregation of schools, but it took the South many years later. 3 years later, we decided here in Nashville that we wanted to do something. So first, I want to thank Dr. Gentry, and I want to for her leadership in working with Will Pinkston and organizing this event and these activities. And I also want to thank Ms. Shepard for leading our board with courage and keeping our board together and focused on the work we're supposed to do. I want to thank our mayor, who has been absolutely positively supportive of public education in the city and supportive of the work that we've been trying to do, as well as Representative Love, who has been committed to us, and all of the elected officials that are here today. But most importantly, I want to thank the Nashville 16. Thank you. If we can give them a round of applause. It's an honor to be here today and to meet you. Last night, I actually watched the public education, the libraries did the "And a Child Shall Lead" video, and I saw we were playing that today, and I watched it last night and got emotional. I got because you just wonder, what was it like? I mean, well, I couldn't, even though I watched the video, I couldn't connect with what it must have been like for a 6-year-old to try to walk to school and just see a city and just the adults just mad about their presence. Yeah, mad about their presence. I mean, what would that feel like as a parent if I were, and if I would I have had the courage, to allow my Ava or my Isaiah, to walk into those schools and into the kind of the belly of hostility. And I struggle with that, and that's what got me emotional. And it reminded me of Marianne Williamson's quote, and she had a quote from her piece "Return to Love: Our Reflections on the Principles of A Course of Miracles." And in it she says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are, in fact, powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us." She says, as we ask ourselves, who are we to be? Brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous. Actually, who are we not to be? She says, we are children of God. And us playing small does not serve the world well. There's nothing enlightening about shrinking up so other people won't feel insecure around you. We're all meant to shine as children do. We're born to make the manifest of God that's within us. It's not within some of us, it's in all of us. And she says, as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. And as we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And that's what the Nashville 16 did. I mean, their presence and their families showed up. And because they showed up, they liberated the city and they liberated the entire South by boldly demonstrating that they simply were not afraid. They were not afraid. Again, it's hard to imagine what it could have been like 60 years ago when an innocent walk to a public school was met with such hatred that had grown for 6-year-old children. Again, 6-year-old children, right? And actually, it's hard to imagine a hate that's so electric that it even led to the bombing of an elementary school here, as you know, Hattie Cotton. We've come a long way from those 60 years, but we recognize that we still have a long way to go. All right, the courage that you and your families took for us in this city opened the doors for what was once unimaginable possibilities for folks. I mean, just think, it includes someone like me, right, who's I don't know if you know it, but I'm a black kid. Right, and I would have been exposed to those same challenges along that walk, and here it is 60 years later, and I can walk these halls in this city as the director of schools. I mean, it's because of you that. And when we think about our students' walk today, I mean, it is much different. We have students from every walk of life in our neighborhoods here, and they have a right to an excellent and equitable education, and we're proud of that. Where schools were once a place where black students and white students couldn't learn together, couldn't learn from each other, we have schools now where all students, regardless of their race, regardless of where they come from, regardless of where or how they got here, they are educated in a safe environment where they can dream about their futures and they can have dreams about who they are, who they can be. And this is one of the things we talk about a lot as a board, is that you've got to be able to see it to be it. And so we've got to make sure we have a city where people can see themselves being, whoever it is they want to be. It's just so funny. This past weekend, past Friday, we were at Glenview Elementary School, and we were reading to kids. So Bookham had, hundreds of people there, and when we got off, I'm high-fiving kids. How you doing? How you doing? All right, good job. And one little white student came up, high-fived me, and he was like, "Hey, where's Dr. Joseph?" I was like, look, I walked in. I thought I was clean. I said, you didn't know? I said, it's me right here. And he gave me the most quizzical look. And he said, but I thought Dr. Joseph was white. And I looked up at his teacher, and his teacher was like, at least he was honest. I said, no. I said, Dr. Joseph Brown, like the Black Panther. And we laughed. And we high-fived each other. But times have changed. But it speaks to the fact that we have inequities that we need to address within our schools, and though those inequities look different than they did 60 years ago, they are still inequities. I mean, it's still a fact that black children in our public schools are disproportionately represented in our special education programs. They're disproportionately economically disadvantaged. They're disproportionately suspended. And they're disproportionately not in our gifted and talented programs. That's something we've got work to do, and we've got to acknowledge that work needs to be done. But when we must, as a district, accept the challenge of fighting for social justice, fighting for economic parity, and accelerating opportunities for all children within this district. And I believe that we can and will do that. But it's not just a school system issue, it is a city issue. Until we start addressing the economic disparities that we see, until we start making sure that our children are fed and are cared for and their parents are supported, until we fully wrap our arms around our children and say, we're going to do something and we're going to make sure they're successful, they won't be. But the good news is we're here in Nashville. If there's any place in the country that can get it right, if there's any place in the country that will get it right, it'll be here in Nashville because of you. Because you've shown us we can't be afraid. That fear is a mind killer. It's a little evil that disintegrates us from inside out. That we can and must confront it and do something about it. We've got a moral obligation to lead, and we will lead. You have our promise. So we thank you for everything that you've done. And one of the reasons we can do this, like I said, is because we have a mayor that has recognized that this work is bigger than the school system. This work involves all of us to come together. And Mayor Barry has been right there with the school system, fighting for us, supporting us, working with us to make sure that every child gets what they need, and we have the right people around the table to understand their responsibility. So it is my honor and privilege to reintroduce our mayor to you all, Mayor Barry.
It's so funny to think back now 2 and a bit years when the school board came together with tremendous leadership to go out and to find the best superintendent to lead our city. And they did, and they found Dr. Joseph. Dr. Joseph is committed to making sure that Nashville is the most welcoming district for everyone who comes through those doors. And when I heard those Hillsborough children sing, and you look at their faces and you see the joy and you hear them talk about the city that they want to be in, Dr. Joseph is helping us to be that city. And that city is laid on the foundation of you who came before. I get the privilege today to read a proclamation in honor of all of you. And before I do that, though, I just want us to shut our eyes for a second and imagine that parent holding that hand of that first grader and taking those steps to walk into those schools 60 years ago. The love that parent had to have had for that child, the concern and the fear and the hope and the joy that every parent has for their child as they walked them up that step, knowing that education was the best gift that parent could give that child. Now open your eyes and look at these folks here, because these are the first graders. Yeah, they were first graders at one point. Who absolutely made that journey holding that parent's hand. And so it is my great honor today to recognize and proclaim today the Nashville 16 Day. And as with any proclamation, there are many whereases, and I get to read them to you. Whereas in 1957, Nashville officially began the desegregation of its schools through the brave action of a small group of first graders who walked to school hand in hand with their parents, unaware that their efforts on this historic day would impact Nashville's community for decades to come. And whereas Nashville Public Schools wants to emphasize the importance of students and the community to understand the history of our schools and to chart the inequities that were faced then and we still face today. And whereas more than 60 years later, Metro Schools has formed community partnerships to capture the oral histories and to curate them in the Civil Rights Room at the Downtown Public Library, as well as to pursue the creation of a documentary about the events of September 9th, 1957. And whereas, this is my favorite part, those 16 courageous students that enrolled on that very first day of school have been identified as Errol Groves, Ethel May Carr, Patricia Guthrie, who all entered Buena Vista Elementary, Barbara Jean Watson, Marvin Moore, Charles Edward Battles, and Cecil Ray Jr. of Jones Elementary, Charles Albert Ridley, Willis Edgar Lewis Jr., Linda McKinley, and Rita Buchanan of Furr Elementary, Jacqueline Griffith, LaWanda Street, and Sinclair Lee Jr. of Glenn Elementary, Joy Smith of Clemens Elementary, and Patricia Watson of Hattie Cotton Elementary. Please give all of them a round of applause. Please turn around so that you can see. It is fitting and proper that the community extend and honor and appreciate the Nashville 16 for their courage, for their bravery, and for changing the course of history changing the course of history in Nashville, Tennessee. Thereby be it resolved that I, Megan Barry, the mayor of this great city, do hereby declare February 26, 2018, the Nashville 16 Day. And let me say one more time, as the students who sang to us did, it is about the light. It is about the joy. It is about the happiness. It is about the courage, the struggle, and the continuation of making sure that Nashville continues to be that city that we all want to live in. It is now my honor to bring up State Representative Harold Love Jr., who is a graduate of our great public schools, a 1990 graduate of Whites Creek. Come on up, please, Representative.
Good morning. Two hard acts to follow. The chains of oppression are often too weak to be felt until they're too strong to be broken. But 16 students helped us break those chains of oppression. And they help remind us about the fact that every student deserves a good education. They helped us see that we shouldn't allow race to deny anybody the opportunity to learn to be their best. More than that, they taught us a life lesson which simply says this: in life, when challenges come and it's our turn to step up to the plate, we cannot ask ourselves, what about me? But instead we must ask ourselves, what about those who would follow me? What if Dr. King had asked the question, what about me? What about my children? What about my family? I don't want to risk their lives. What if Rosa Parks had said, what about me? I'll sit in the back of the bus because I don't want to risk my life. Life challenges us to ask the question, not what about me, but what about those who will follow me? It is because of these brave souls that I was able to get a good education from this public school system. It is because of these brave souls that countless children will be able to look back and get a good education. But we can't stop here. Because unfortunately, the forces of evil always will rear their ugly head and try to roll back the clock. So we stand now even at a moment in our state's history where students who speak a different language and just weren't born here have to pay out-of-state tuition to go to public schools in Tennessee. We have to keep pushing and keep encouraging each other to be better, because when we treat each other better, we are better ourselves. When we allow love to reverberate in our hearts, it allows us to be good people. You know, it takes a lot of effort to be bad, folk. You got to think about it. You got to get up in the morning and think about treating them wrong. You got to make sure that when you see them, you treat them wrong. You got to think about it. It takes less effort to be nice to folk, because it is our natural inclination to be kind, to be loving, and to be just. And so I will challenge us to live out the courage of these 16 brave souls, that we set an example for the state, that we may show them how a city loves children, no matter where they come from, no matter what language they speak, because we are all created equal. I had a great chance at Glenview to read a book, and it says, "Why am I me?" And it asks the question in the book, why am I me and not you? And why are you you and not me? And as those students and I discovered, we read the book and realized, I can't be you. Because if I am you, I can't be me. And what happens to who would have been me if I try to be you? So let's not erase the diversity that makes our world so great. But instead, let's embrace it, let's love it, let's multiply it, and let's teach folks how to be good and just and loving. And I'm going to borrow a phrase from Christian's grandfather. Let's just keep love in the house. Here's Dr. Gentry.
Get away. So, have some homework to do before we get to the really, really good part. And I wrote this. I swear I can't read it. First, I know that Dr. Joseph acknowledged me and Will Pinkston. But this day would not have happened had it not been for Cameo, Lorraine, standing over here in the corner, Anna Marina, right? And Maritza in the back, calling me and locking me in a room and say, what are y'all gonna do? And so this all came from, a handful of people just spitting out ideas and just knowing that at the end of the day, we wanted you all to be affirmed. We wanted you all to be affirmed and to know that we understand that we have a responsibility. We owe you. There's 86,000 kids that we owe, but we owe you to not drop the ball, to not fall asleep. What's the new vernacular? To stay woke. As old as I look. I also want to point out that the principal from Jones is here, our current principal. If you stand up, Dr. Smith. And over here to the left, we have a display of the desegregation activities that's on at John Early right now. So that's over here as well. So thank you for making sure that happened. So I was wondering if Dr. Joseph was going to use this. He uses this phrase often. He tells about the greeting of the Maasai tribe. I'm keeping it together now. Of the Maasai tribe. And it just gives me chills every time he tells the story. So I don't remember all the details. But bottom line is, when Maasai warriors greet one another, the question is, how are the children? And when the children are well. And that's what we want to be able to say, that our children are well, they are well educated, they are well cared for, they are well loved, they are well fed, they are well clothed, they are well housed. These are all the things that come into our classrooms today, that become that checklist of things that Dr. Smith has to make sure that her students and her teachers are aware of that need to be addressed. And then there's educating them with all of those other things. But we're here. We've got great partnerships with the city, and I cannot thank you enough for inviting us to the table for conversations, Mayor Berry, and listening and keeping into regular communication. Was this weekly, monthly, bi-weekly, every day, you stalker? And it's all, it's all about, here's the data, here are the numbers, and here's what we need. And so thank you for that. So right now we're going to go with our presentations. And Cameo, if you'll help me, and Dr. Joseph, and Anna, and the Mayor, and Harold, if you all will join us up here. I'll let you know what we've got. We've got a copy of the proclamation for each of you. We have a letter in the black portfolio for you from Doctors Joseph and Love. He has his PhD now. And most importantly, not to minimize, but most importantly, in each of these gift bags are handwritten thank you notes from the students at Jones Elementary. Because of you. And we make sure that they remember that it's because of you that they sit in the classrooms that they sit in today with the resources. So we'll go through the list of those that we believe are here. Cameo, keep me honest. I'm reading. So Ethel Mae Crowder. Hey, there she is, right here. Come on up. his head. You know. Okay. The man with the MNPS. Okay. And this one, I love these. Errol grows, and his mother's going to hold his hand and walk him up here. Miss Iredale Groves. Yes. All right. Whew. And Marvin Moore will be escorted up by his mother, Maud Moore. We're not going back to work today. Yeah, we're gonna stay here all day. All day. Right. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anybody else? This just makes you stop complaining about sitting in a board meeting. Ms. Harley, Lajananda, am I getting this right? Oh, they put extra letters in your name. Lawanda Harley. Yes, thank you. Come on, Mama. Oh, and your mom's here. What's your name? Serena Street. That's right. Mrs. Serena Street. That's right. See, that's what threw me off. And Mrs. Street is here. Miss Serena Street.
So she's a retired Metro school teacher. She's from Hillsborough.
Excuse me. She's from Glenwood. Barbara Watson will be with her mother, Mrs. Mary Louise Watson. Come over there. I understand that you have a granddaughter. You have a daughter. She has a granddaughter that teaches. Somebody's got a granddaughter. Jones. Oh, is that right now? Very good. So we have family members of some other honorees who were not able to attend. Granddaughters of Linda McKinley. We have Pamela Williams. Daughters. Oh, that's right. It's your mom. Sorry. Your grandmother walked her. Linda McKinley's daughters, Pamela Williams, Jerry Bowers, and Stacy Bowers. We will come up. Jerry's also a Metro Schools teacher. He teaches the little babies. It's hot. And Judge Andre Lee, the daughter of Sinclair Lee Jr. And we hoped we checked everyone in, but if not, please, if an honoree is here that we missed or family members, please stand. For Charles Edward Battles. Jacqueline. Hey! The wife. Jacqueline Griffith, Patricia Watson, Charles Elbert Ridley, Patricia Guthrie, Willis Edgar Lewis Jr. And those also who not able to attend, Cecil Ray Jr. and Joyce Smith. Again, we thank all of you. Rita Buchanan.
Yes, absolutely. All right. You're right there.
Okay. We'll just now have closing remarks from Anna Shepherd, our board chair.
Well, I want to thank you once again, everybody, for being here this morning on this historic occasion. I'm honored to serve as board chair, but I'm even more honored to be in your presence today. I think I speak for my fellow board members and we just want to say thank you. And that seems so hollow, but we do thank you from the bottom of our hearts. When we started this year of commemoration last fall, we did it for one reason: so that the students we serve today can know of the sacrifices that were made long before they got here, and that has afforded them vast opportunities. Thank you, Dr. Gentry and Mr. Pinkston, for spearheading the recognition of this heroic group of individuals. Thank you, Dr. Joseph, for being a steadfast partner and for remembering from whence we have come and leading us forward to our pursuit of equity and diversity within our schools, within our administration, and within our district. I close out this celebration this morning, but would invite the media to interview each and every one of the strong students that we have here today. Thanks for being here.
Sorry, two things. Rita Sawyers, thank you so much for being here. I apologize. I did not read your name on top because you weren't checked out. I apologize. My fault. And we do have refreshments over here to the right, so please partake because Cameo's threatened me just like for the third time this morning. Thank you all for being here.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.org.